Hello and welcome back to Basics Homestead. My name is Annie. Today's video is going to be a little different. It is March Molasses Madness week 4 and it is dessert. So Lynn made a suggestion in her video that published on Sunday. Make sure to go check her out. The playlist of all her videos is in the description. She did mention that it would be perfect for the Easter dessert. So I have to agree, hers look really delicious. But here's my version of this week's dessert, and it is blondies with a zing. Today's video is going to be a little different. I had a sick kiddo at home and I wasn't able to do audio. He was sleeping right next to me. So today I'm making zingy ginger molasses blondies. I'm preparing 1 cup of butter. The recipe says unsalted, but I did not have it, so I'm just using what I have here, which is salted butter, and the lower into the recipe it says salt. I just either half it or not put at all. So this is going to be melted and cooled. The next step is adding 1 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar, and then adding 4 tablespoons of molasses. Once that is done, adding the butter into the mixture. So the butter is melted and was cooled. Mixing everything together until combined, and this is a large mixing bowl, and I'm using a dough hook to do this. We want everything to be like all mixed in together. This is where I add eggs. I don't have vanilla, but this is where you would add vanilla and fresh ginger. You don't have to use it, but I tried it because I think this is what gives it the zing. And you mix everything till well combined. Side note, so I have here 2 eggs, room temperature, and it's 2 teaspoons of vanilla if you're adding it. And if you're adding the fresh ginger, it's the equivalent of about 1 teaspoon, but I'm pretty much eyeballing it. Dry ingredients. In a new bowl, I'm sifting together 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, but like I said, since I have salted butter, it's a little less than that. 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, 1 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of cloves. So I sift everything together, and then this is where we're going to add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients and fold to combine. And this is like super important not to overmix. I can tell you it it really smells delicious. We're almost there. So in a separate bowl, it's time to make the cinnamon sugar. So combining the white sugar and cinnamon and a pinch of salt. So it's a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, but I don't have granulated sugar. I just use like regular cane sugar that I have here. So it's time to prepare. I'm using a 9x9 tray, and I'm using parchment paper instead of butter, and I just line the tray with it, and I find that it's easier for me than the butter. I always get disappointed. I always miss a little space, and then dishes gets complicated. So then I just dump everything in there, and I'm going to be using a spoon to level everything out. And then you sprinkle the little mixture of cinnamon sugar on it. I know this is not the regular type of content I do, but I felt that in the moment as a mom, this was my reality, and if I wanted to film this, is how I had to do it. So it's gonna be a little different, shorter version, but as a little recap, so week 1 was cookies, week 2 was doughs. There was a little battle. It was super fun doing that. So if you missed that, there's going to be a playlist in the comments below. Week 3 was a full meal. So Lynn had the meal and I had the side dishes, and one of the side dishes I am doing again. So I think I'm actually going to do that as a side dish tonight. It is super good. So my side dishes was carrots and sweet potatoes. I'm not going to tell you which one was my favorite, but you have to go watch it. Seriously, it's worth it. So let's continue on baking. So the oven was preheated to 350, and they're gonna go in there for about 20 to 30 minutes. So the key here is for the edges that are set, but the middle is still slightly gooey. I went with 25 minutes. There is one more ingredient that was added onto this recipe, which is 4 ounces of white chocolate finely chopped. So once everything is out and cooled, it says to drizzle with the melted white chocolate and allow it to set for 30 minutes. It's like before slicing it. And then it says to enjoy with a glass of milk, and that is so true. Overall, even without the vanilla, without the added white chocolate, for here, it was definitely a win, and I will be definitely doing this recipe again.